wasn't expecting to do another witch movie so quickly, but here we are. Well, here's one more. This is practical magic. We start with a hanging, we get right into it. It's New England, 1600s. The Salem witch trials are in full swing. Maria Owens is being executed for witchcraft and the crime of enjoying early American D. At least the movie went with a more historical method than the Hollywood trope of being burned at the stake. Good old-fashioned hanging. Maria was, as the movie puts it, a bit of a heartbreaker, meaning she fooled around with married men. Their wives had Maria hanged. Wow, harsh. Well, they try to hang her. She's a witch and, therefore, magic. They knew this and still tried. Maybe they could try not pissing off the supernatural being. Rather than executing, they banished her. And she was also pregnant. They tried to hang a pregnant woman. When I say things like that, I feel like Bailey Sarian. The father of her unborn child never returned, and heartbroken, Maria cast a spell on herself to prevent herself from ever falling in love again. Well, the spell kind of mutated and eventually turned into a curse upon Maria's descendants. Thanks, Grandma. Dooming any man loved by an Owens woman. That means there is a lot of single mothers in this family. Flash forward to one of her ancestors and their two daughters, Sally and Jillian. The way the curse works, after she falls in love, a beetle starts singing, "And you wish upon a star." And that means the guy's about to... The wife can't go on, so she dies as well of a broken heart. I can't say the real reason she died because YouTube won't like it. Sally and Jillian go off to live with their aunts, Frances and Bridget, two powerful witches. They also spoil the hell out of the little girls.
In this house, we have chocolate cake for breakfast.
What better way to soften the blow of being orphans? As they grow up, the local kids still throw rocks and chant, "Witch, witch, don't piss off the magical beings." When the girls are a little older, they get the details of the romance-killing curse on the women of their family.
That any man who gets involved with an Owens woman is bound to end up 6 feet under.
And it's kind of heavy. The aunts make a little scratch on the side doing love spells. But I guess those who can't hold on to love dispense it.
Can't wait to fall in love.
Sally is afraid to fall in love, so she makes a magical wish that she would only fall in love with a man with certain criteria. Like one green eye, one blue eye, flips pancakes, which is oddly specific, and he likes stars. Who doesn't like stars? Basically, a man who doesn't exist. So years later, they've grown up. Sally is a stay-at-home type, where Jillian is more of an outgoing partier. Jillian leaves home and gets busy living. Before she goes, they make a blood pact. Always the hands. Ever notice that? It's always the palm of your hand. You know how hard that heals? I mean, you bleed elsewhere too. One cheesy montage later, Sally falls in love, gets married, and has 2 little girls of her own. That escalated quickly. She gets the normal life she's always wanted. I'm not even sure we know his name at this point. It's almost as if he's not supposed to be here that long. You might look at this guy and wonder, where's all her criteria? I don't see any pancakes, no green, blue eyes, whatever. Meanwhile, Jillian just falls in sex. She gets mixed up with Jimmy, a creepy vampire cowboy wannabe bad boy. Red flag, red flag, red flag. It's not long before the dreaded cricket appears. When you wish upon a star. Even though she tries to remodel the floor looking for the cricket, her hubby is toast. Well, applesauce.
It was the curse, wasn't it?
Sally is devastated, of course. She begs the aunts to use magic to bring him back, which they can do, kinda, in a Pet Cemetery kind of way. You know, they come back darker and not what you wanted.
Well, sometimes that is better.
So the answer is no. He dead. It turns out the aunts had cast a love spell to help Sally find love. Yeah, her aunts got her laid. Sally and her girls go stay with the aunts while she mourns. She's in a really bad state right now. Naturally, her husband just died. But the kids are oddly taking it better. It's weird. Kids, they're so resilient. Sally calls out to her sister psychically. Jillian wants to answer the call, but first she has to knock out possessive Captain Hard-On over here. She drugs him to get a break. She seems to do this regularly. Red flags on both sides. Jillian and Sally have an out-of-body chat, and she feels better. Literally, it took one evening. It's okay. She never even learned his name.
Witch! You're a witch!
That witch chanting bullshit still happens, and one of them casts chicken pox.
Chicken pox!
Later we find out it's super effective. Sally does not want her kids to do magic. Fair, they're only kids. You gotta be responsible to do stuff like that. But when they're adults, it should be their choice. You just don't want them learning magic on the street. Sally doesn't like magic, okay, but that doesn't stop her from using her powers to stir beverages. She also lights candles by blowing on them. Yeah, right, magic. What was in that cup, huh? Huh? This time, Jillian calls Sally. Her boyfriend is getting crazy and started hitting her. But when she goes to take Jillian home, Jimmy takes them both hostage. He starts getting more violent and abusive in the car.
The belladonna, it's in my bag.
Jillian psychically tells Sally to use her sedative to knock Jimmy out, the same stuff she's been using to take breaks. Sally gets the bottle of booze that Jimmy always seems to have and doses it with belladonna, and she stirs it with her magic crotch. Well, it is Sandra Bullock. It's taking a while to kick in, but when it does, whew, it really does. I mean, they actually wind up killing him, and, well, Sally killed him. She just gave him too much of the belladonna. But Sally can't go down. She's too pretty for prison. They have a plan. Sally can't go down for murder if he's no longer dead. Remember that resurrection spell the aunts wouldn't use? What could go wrong? So they do the spell. He's alive, but not.
I want you to be my wife.
He's just as murdery and even weirder, and they wind up killing him again.
Be my wife.
Cast iron for the win. Now it's just, fuck it, bury him.
Thank you.
The rest of the family return home and welcomes Jillian back into the fold. And the aunts can kind of tell something's up, but they don't want to say anything. Jillian immediately makes herself useful by pretending to work at Sally's herbal shop and using magic to finally get Sally to the top of the phone tree. That's a big deal in small towns before texting and cell phones. If there's a school closing or something, she'll make a call, then they'll call who's next, and so on.
And let the cauldron bubble.
Midnight margaritas!
Witches are fun people. Margaritas at midnight? I mean, no wonder Sally can light candles with her breath. The ladies get good and sloshed. I mean, they see some drunken, hurtful things, but it's all in good fun. Until the aunts bust out a certain bottle of booze, the same kind Jimmy liked, drunkenly singing the same song Jimmy was singing right before he died. I can hear you asking,
Where did this bottle come from?
I don't think they would have kept it. It would have been dumb to keep a bottle full of poison.
Someone left it on the porch!
And if it was the bottle that was left on the porch, they're in a town full of people they know hate them. I've seen enough forensic files. I mean, if they knew something was up and they did all this, they know a lot more than they're letting on. And they just want them to confess. My head hurts. Try not to think about it too hard.
Sally, what's going on in this house?
The aunts leave to force Jillian and Sally to fix their own mess. At least they put a protective spell on the little ones. For some illogical reason, they buried Jimmy right in the backyard, really close to the house. And now that spot sprouted a massive rose bush. Now is a good time to panic. Gary, a cop looking for Jimmy, drops by, played by Aidan Quinn. Sally is immediately taken by him and starts losing her cool. Sploosh.
He hit me and I haven't seen him since.
Gary interviews everyone and gets more of the story. The Owens are witches and everybody knows it.
Witch? Yeah. Evil? No.
Sally's attraction is super obvious, and even Gary is flirty as hell. Meanwhile, Jillian is being spooked. It takes a lot to spook a witch. Officer Gary drops by for breakfast. Jillian's plan is to poison him. That escalated way quick.
Poison?
It's okay, they have a big backyard, and Sally is just gonna charm the pants off him.
Did you or your sister kill James Angela?
A couple of times.
Wait a second. This guy flips pancakes, likes stars, and his eyes are the same color. So close.
No.
The poisoning plan is shot because the girls are also aware of the criteria and want to get their mom laid. What is it with this family? But a frog spits out Jimmy's ring, you heard me, and for some reason that's incriminating.
You better get yourselves a damn good lawyer.
All right, Frog, you're coming with me. The sisters argue over lifestyle choices. Jillian gets sick while Sally goes to confess, which goes great for Sally. How to jeopardize her case in 2 minutes.
One green eye, one blue.
Until she notices the two eye colors. I guess. They look the same to me. Maybe it's a lighting thing, but earlier close-ups did not have this dual color. Even in the reveal shot, the difference is so subtle anyone could miss it. I guess maybe you have to be in dick range? That means you're really close. Sally runs home with Detective Blueballs right behind her, and they witness Jimmy's ghost menacing Jillian. I'm pretty sure the police academy didn't cover ghosts. But it turns out police badges do indeed have powers of their own because he believes in it. Sure, Jimmy touches his badge and it leaves a weird scar on his hand that's just unpleasant to look at. Ugh. Jimmy goes away, but there's still about half an hour to go, so I don't think it's over. Gary can hardly believe it, but he's getting on board, and maybe because he's really the one that Sally called for. He leaves the movie for now.
Very into sisters right now.
Before this turns into the highest budget Naughty America movie ever, it turns out Jillian is possessed by Jimmy, and Sally has a mean right hook. The aunts come home in just the nick of time, which is a day late. They try what they can, but they just can't banish Jimmy alone. They need help.
We need a full coven. Do you have any friends?
The phone tree is the answer. Remember the phone tree?
I'm a witch! Sally just came out.
The other mothers find out about Jillian's abusive ex trying to possess her, literally, and they're suddenly sympathetic and on board with it. A lot of attitudes change really quickly in this movie. An official coven is gathered. They even have snacks. It's BYOB, bring your own broom. They try to perform a ritual to drive Jimmy out of Jillian, but it doesn't work and it only seems to be hurting her. But Sally gets the idea to lure him out with his favorite booze. Where do these bottles keep coming from? They broke the last one. Somebody make a trip to the liquor store? But a refreshing of their blood oath, hands again, drives Jimmy out, triggers a montage, and breaks the Owen curse. Hopefully. One last job, they need to bind Jimmy to his grave, and that involves sweeping his ashes out of the house. Anyone who's ever tried to sweep dirt over grass? Whatever, they're magic. Then they pour Kevin's chili over his grave, and that's that. And I guess this means that they're gonna have to live with a dead body on their property now? Which is, Detective Pancake closes the case of the missing Jimmy by framing a different dead body. Bad cop. Sally still killed him twice. Jimmy was a killer anyway, so it's fine. Due process. That's for other movies. He comes back into town to test if the curse is really over. Do you feel lucky? But the kids still lost their father. Does that bug anyone else? Anyway, the town accepts the Owens as witches and as part of the community. And they celebrate every Halloween by throwing a child off the roof. I'm kidding. They float down like Mary Poppins, y'all.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
Gary's still alive. So far, so good. That was Practical Magic. The film is based on the novel of the same name by Alice Hoffman. It flopped on release, but the film is now considered a cult classic by some. One of the film's strengths lies in its portrayal of the bond between the two sisters. Despite their differences in personality and lifestyle, their connection remains a central theme. Bullock and Kidman deliver convincing on-screen chemistry, and that anchors the movie. There was just so much else going on. The tone is all over the place. It swings between a romantic comedy, a supernatural drama, a mystery, which can keep the narrative interesting, but the swings are wide and sudden. It can be cute and light, then tragic, then whimsical, then empowering, then spooky, scary, and then back to cute. I have a hard time keeping up. Goran this guy, played Jimmy as evil as can be. No real layers, just a bad man with no redeeming qualities other than being killed, 3 times in this movie? The exploration of witchcraft is both respectful and fun without falling into the usual cliches. Maybe they fall a little. Witchcraft or not, the story at its heart is about a woman escaping an abusive relationship. Very relatable, very Lifetime movie. The resolution is really simplistic and convenient. Grief waved off, as if with a magic wand, not a realistic portrayal. The subplots vary in pace. The movie clips along at times, and some scenes seem to go on a little too long. Its empowering message and themes of family bond work for the movie. It may lack focus at times, but it's still a fun little movie. Practical Magic is 3.5 Bs. Overall, a charming and entertaining movie, and I have a soft spot for it. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, the bell, the usual YouTube stuff. Any of that, I appreciate and it helps me out. This is the newbie, and I'll see you later, kids. Toodles.